and, you know, arts and colors and all of that kind of stuff, that we're not thinking about like our actual mental process when it comes to how we create and all that stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and like kick this off, and you all can please drop your comments, and at a point there'll be a space for questions. You all can drop your questions in, and you can even request to ask a question live to the star, to Pia, because I'm sure y'all want to just, you know, love on her and all of that stuff. So I will say first, just to get this clear, Miss Pia, ma'am, sister, you did your thing on this season of The Voice. I know Chicago is proud of you. I'm proud of you. One artist to another. I already told you this. Like, you did an amazing job, and that is such just such an amazing thing to be able to do and to carry out. I know it was a lot of work and focus that went into that, but you served well. So I want to ask you, just to start off, like, how do you feel now that you've gone through the experience and all of that? Where are you at with everything?
Oh man, that's a great question. After leaving the show, I was satisfied with how I exited. But just coming home, having been like the whole process took pretty much a year. So having been in the process of preparing for the show, being on stage and etc., and now to be home, I found myself, I had days when I wake up like, oh my God, the schedule. And it's like, girl, you at home, relax.
Right.
So I am happy to be home. I'm happy to be able to rest and really like just really tune into myself without having like major obligations pulling on me. But I will be honest and say that there are days that are really challenging, especially because I lost my mother at the beginning of the year. So the show was like a welcomed, I don't want to say distraction, but the obligation of the show really gave me something to focus on other than my emotions surrounding that. So now that I don't have that anymore, it's like the real grief is showing up. So I have to really process that, because in and of myself, I will find something to do so I don't have to feel, and that's not healthy. So I'm just allowing myself to be. So yeah,
absolutely. And I definitely, you know, I told you this before, like, I am sincerely sorry for your loss, and I know that you are, you know, going through it, and it's a day by day process. But you have love and support now all over the world to kind of push you and to keep you, you know, keep you going and strengthened and all of that. So yeah, I know that's tough, but I'm so proud of everything that you've been able to accomplish in spite of and in the midst of all of that. So you're truly an inspiration in that way. So I know that The Voice is finally over. How do you feel about the winner and like how it all played out and all of that?
Well, you know what, to be honest, a lot of people was clocking Cam to be the winner from top 20. So I'm not surprised. I love him. He's so and I won't say he's deserving and nobody else is, or somebody's less or more deserving, but everybody that you saw that made the cut, even people that didn't make the cut, everybody that graced that stage is a deserving contender. But in his case, he's just so built for what he's doing, and I'm beyond thrilled for him. He's so sweet and kind and wise beyond his years. He's 19 years old, like the same age as my daughter, and I'm like, you could be in my daughter's friend group, but you be on the same stage doing the same thing. So he is absolutely amazing, and I'm beyond. I felt like I won him when it was like I won too. So yeah, I'm super happy for him.
Cool. Yes, congrats to Cam on your win, and you go and you do great things and represent.
Yes.
For the people. Yeah. So okay, cool. So we know now. I know, you know, I'm a little biased because I know you before The Voice, but I definitely want people to get to know the Pia as a whole, who has already been an artist, like been doing this thing since way back when.
Yes.
It's been the move.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about like your music journey, like how long have you been doing it? You know, where do you feel like you fit in this music space? What are you passionate about as far as how you create and all that stuff?
So I've been doing this all my life. Like I discovered I could sing at 6. I was singing at church not long after that. And there was a time in my life in my teens where I just had like crippling insecurity and stage fright. And I just got to a point where I got tired of losing, and I got tired of misrepresenting myself, and I got tired of just letting fear take things from me. So in my early 20s, I pursued a music education, a formal music education. And at that point, during that time, I discovered reggae and world music, and I've been in that genre heavy ever since then, because I developed primarily, my professional development has been primarily with reggae and world music. I've been a praise and worship leader in church. I've done a little bit of everything. So I consider music and what I'm doing as a creative my life's work. So if you see me on the show, if you see me wherever doing whatever, this is going to be for the rest of my life. And this is something that I'm building for myself, my children, and their children into perpetuity. And, you know, I look at people who have their parents or grandparents or whomever that paved the way for them. And I didn't have that. And I want to create that for myself and my children, who are also musically talented, and their children, if they decide that they're interested in pursuing it. I want to build or blaze a trail that they can just walk in without some of the things that I've had to deal with, because I'm doing it on I'm blazing the path for myself.
Yeah, no, that's really, really real. And that makes me think about like the different things that you kind of experience and go through, having to be that first, the things that you go through, because I know that's something for me as well as an artist. I am kind of like in a space by myself, even from the business standpoint, everything that I do and I manage with my business, you know, as of now, until the team comes, that's something that I have to manage. But how do you process that initial thought of knowing that music is something that you want to do beyond a hobby, beyond like in the shower and that kind of thing, like that moment when you realize like, no, this is bigger than me, really? Like, how do you process that in a healthy way? And have you had to go through processing that in a not so positive way as well?
I'm glad you said in a healthy way, because for a long time it was not in a healthy way. So I used to look at people like Beyonce, and I used to be like, God, why do you love her more than me? Because you gave her a mama and a daddy who down for her, and my mama and daddy don't even know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to do this since I was a child. I remember coming home from school, and I had this routine of playing with my Barbie dolls on the porch. And then after we played with our Barbie dolls, we would stop and we would write songs, and we would sing songs, and we would get the radio and press record, and we would sing on this tape, and then we would dub songs off like off 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁, and then listen to the song and learn the song. So I've been doing this like all of my life, but I did not have in-house support, and I did not have in-house encouragement or in-house, like, you can do this, and in-house development. So it's really just been me. And for a long time, I struggled with feeling like something was wrong with me, because I didn't have what I saw other people who are great and iconic and legendary. Like, they had their dad or their mom or somebody from their family to pushing them, or somebody early on developing them and kind of protecting them and nurturing them and their talents. And I didn't have that. And I just always felt like, God, why would you give me this and give me nothing at the same time? So I had to learn to accept my life as it is as a creative. Some people are you just built you gonna go through it by yourself. It is what it is. But to be honest, I wouldn't change any of it, because the way I sing, the sounds you hear in my voice, what resonates with people is the things that were born of hardship and born of struggle and born of uncertainty and born of me having to find myself by myself. I literally, when I discovered I could sing, I was by myself. My mama didn't hear me and say, oh, baby, you can sing. I was literally watching Snow White VHS tape for the 50 millionth time by myself. And I was like, I wonder if I could sing to the birds like she's singing. And that's how I discovered it. And it's been me holding on to that from that age up until now. until my dying breath, this is what I have, this is what I'm about, and this is what I love. So I would say very young, I knew that this is what I wanted to do with my life. So I just had to learn along the way that I'm not at a disadvantage because my life is set up differently than someone else. You know, I'm not at a disadvantage. I mean, well, in a sense I was, but then when you look at things on like a divine grand scheme of things, it's just something that I'm built to say or be about or exemplify that's different from other people. And my life experience is what creates all that. So I accept that. And that's where the health came in at. Because before, a lot of times when you're a musician, especially a singer, especially being a woman, a female, you know, embodiment of an artist, you get everything is set up to be, there's only one queen of this, there's the queen of this, the queen of that, there's only one space, there can only be one great one, this one, you know, and everybody to me, singers are a dime a dozen. And I don't say that lightly. We are needed. Everybody who's got a voice, who can open up their mouth and carry a tune, you can open up your mouth and save somebody's life walking down the street. We are not all built to be number one on Billboard, to be the iconic stars and the number one and the queen of everything and all of it. Everybody ain't built for that, but everybody who's got an instrument is necessary. And we all need to be armed with that understanding, because there's so many things that are structured in fame and what we look to in celebrities that can be detrimental to how we see ourselves and detrimental to how we even approach how we give our gift to others. You know what I mean? So I had to learn how to separate myself from that. I don't have to think about, my waist ain't small enough to wear this bodysuit on stage, or I don't have the highest soprano register, or I don't look like this person. Like, that doesn't matter. If I open my mouth and sing the song and somebody decides not to take their life because of that, that's what's important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So back to you at the studio.
No, that's yes. No, that's it though. That's really real. I know for me, I definitely, I sang at such a young age that I thought it was normal, to the point where when I would sing around people and they were like, are you, I'm like, doesn't everybody sing? Like, it's just a thing. Because for me, I just be in my room playing with my dolls, singing songs. Like you said, for the young kids that don't know, listening to the radio or having your little cassette tape that you got from the store, and listening to how the single would come with the main single would come with the song, and you flip it over as an instrumental, so then get that instrumental going and be singing it and all of that stuff. So I did that like super young. Like, I was doing that super young, and it's crazy because I think even the innocence of childhood, to be able to like explore and imagine and all that kind of the possibilities that's in you. And it is so important. Now, everyone doesn't have the story to where, like you said, like a Beyonce, where the parents identified that gift early and they cultivated all that stuff. But it is important that when like parents and mentors or whatever, that they pay attention to those things, because there is a whole nother world that's going to try to dictate identity to you. And it's like our parents are our first teachers. They're our first, identifiers of who we are. So when that's not recognized early, we're kind of left to our own devices to figure it out some kind of way. And like with the music thing, I think just because creatives in general, we think kind of in a different space a lot of times. And so as we're developing and growing, like I said, from a young age, I'm thinking about music and I'm singing and it's in my heart, but I don't really know or have language for what I'm supposed to do with it. So then that gravitates into looking outside, looking at the media, magazines, radio, all of this kind of stuff, and trying to find myself in that. So what happened with me was, where I was in a space of like just exploring and, in this innocence of discovering what was in me, I ran into what society wanted me to think I needed to be. So that, like you said, like I'm not going to be able to be a singer until I'm a certain weight, or until I look a certain way, or whatever. And I used to actually watch, this is kind of telling my age too, but remember MTV's The Diaries? Like they had the people, the artists coming and they feel like they backstory.
Yeah.
So I be watching the diaries and I'm like, I ain't never gonna make it because I ain't got that story. Like what they gonna say on my diary? I don't even know what it is. So I would just be comparing and trying to find the formula. And like psychologically that does a lot to you, to the point where as we get older, I believe we kind of lose our confidence, we lose our encouragement even in what it is that's in us. And so we kind of spend our lives trying to get back to that place, that innocence where we're just like open and just excited about what's in us and wanting to explore. So I believe the journey kind of is different, but sometimes it's the same. I think as artists, we kind of all go through that space. And because we're wired to create, like we're wired to take something out of us and put it in the earth and it becomes something. That's a weighty thing to have. And that takes a lot. And that's why I think like we think about some of the most legendary artists who unfortunately aren't even with us anymore. And we've lost them to all kinds of like, you know, suicides and drug overdose and all that stuff because of that journey where they couldn't get back to that place where it was just about understanding and being okay with discovering who you are and your identity. And then it kind of like takes you to different realms. So I think that it's really, really important. And that's why I like, even with my music, I try to advocate for artists to really don't focus so much on the success that you feel like is being planted for you, you know, outside. Like really know who you are before you, whether you're trying to sign a contract, whether you're doing this independently, take the time to do the work to know who you are and be strong in that so that no one can take that away from you or try to manipulate that into something else, so that you can stand in authenticity of who you are. Absolutely. And, you know, walk out your purpose and whatever it is that you have to give as yourself and not as any form of whoever else, because when you do that, you're robbing the world of who you are. And so sometimes I think there's like a urgency, almost like I got to get to whatever this mark is, this invisible mark that we don't know what it is, but it's like, it looks like something. And now with the social media era, we've got, it looks like likes, it looks like followers, and, you know, all of that kind of stuff to kind of all play with your mentality and your mental health, because you're trying to measure yourself against a standard that's impossible, because we all have our different places that we're going to be at. We all have our different purposes. So to try to reach for something tangibly that doesn't really exist, it's just a hard thing to do. So I was saying all that to say, there's a real importance to being mindful about like where you are mentally about yourself, because if not, either someone else is going to tell you who you are, you're going to follow that and you're going to be all over the place, or you're going to spend your life just kind of in limbo trying to bounce around to these things that you can't reach ever, because all in all, you're supposed to be who you are, period, point blank. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
I think that's something to consider across the board, as we continue on as creatives, to always find that place, to get back and settle in that place when the world is going crazy and all kinds of things happen, and find that get back to that point one, you know, what made you want to discover and you know, explore what's in yourself and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. And you know what, to your point, when I was young and when I did American Idol in my 20s, I was like 24 and I had got kicked off on my 25th birthday.
Oh no.
But I'm
man,
glad that I didn't make it then, because at that age, all I cared about was being famous. I didn't care about money. I didn't care about financial stability. I didn't even care about, I didn't even take into consideration having being a certain groundedness within, so that I could withstand everything that comes along with the music industry at that time, which was prior to a lot of the culture we see now. Like, this is before Me Too, so a whole lot of crazy stuff was going on, and people didn't have nothing to lose. Now you got something to lose stepping to somebody the wrong way. But at that point in my life, I'm so glad I didn't get on, per se, because people could have ran me raggedy and I would have took it just to be famous. So now at this, now that I'm older and I'm more seasoned in life and certain experiences and who I am as a person, as a woman, as a mom, as an artist, is so much more solid than it was then. Now I'm ready. And a lot of times I think we look at ourselves as creatives like, I should be there by now. I'm supposed to be. I didn't start when I was 16. I don't start when I was 5. I should be there. And you feel like you're at a disadvantage based on time. That doesn't exist. A lot of that, again, comes from the industry and the industry standards and how we digest them. Like, you know, I always say in pop, you age in dog years. If you 12, you 20. If you 20, you 35. If you 35, you dead. Like, you know, people make you, it seems as if you're not young, you're not of value. And that's just not true in life. So to your point, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, no, that's really true. And I think that, and this is more on like the industry side for those that's watching that like have no idea like of the behind the scenes stuff. I think that the trajectory has changed a bit because there's a point where all it was about was getting a record deal. And now it's like we're being embraced to be independent artists and stuff. And like you and I, since inception of me doing music, it was independent, period. So I didn't know any other way. Even though I was able to do things in the industry, I was still doing them independently. But now there's more of an acceptance of that to where it's like you can actually be a lot freer to be yourself. So I think that's an advantage that a lot of artists have, that they need to realize that there was a time where there was a mold that you had to fit. It was no like you could only go so far, you know, being yourself or whatever. After a while, you have to be able to look like this, sound like this, do that. And I was like really honed in because you were under a recording contract. So you had to do what was on, you know, under your contract. Otherwise, that was it. So there was a time where we were only reaching for the contract. But now I'm grateful to see that it's about like, hey, you can actually do this yourself. It's a lot more work, but you can do it yourself and have the creative control to continue to like be yourself and you know, to kind of do that thing.
Yeah.
And that also made me think of something that you were saying, like, what do you think about the concept of like the starving artist? Because I think that plays a role too, psychologically, when the objective is, if you're not out here struggling for the dream, then you're not really for real about your thing. Like, you should quit your job. You should do all of these things and just go, you know, full force. Like, what do you feel about that kind of mentality?
Well, it exists if you believe that. Like, if you believe you gotta struggle to make it, that's what your life is gonna be, because that's what you believe. I have experienced being a professional musician and I wasn't wealthy, but at the same time, I was living at home with my mama. And I also know what it's like to be an adult with real responsibilities, such as a mortgage, 2 children that are in college. I didn't give myself the option to be a starving artist. And again, because I consider this my life's work, it doesn't matter if I have to work 9 to 5 somewhere at behind somebody's desk, because once 5 o'clock is over with, from 6 to whenever, I'm about this action as it pertains to my artistry. So somebody I follow is Gary V. He always talks about being patient. He always talks about what you focus on. Don't focus on followers. Don't focus on likes. Be patient with yourself. Give yourself 10 years. If this is what you are about, this is what you have. This is the talent you've been endowed with in your physical body that you literally could not have asked anybody for. You were born for this, born with this. Why not give yourself time? Why not respect yourself in ways that no system, no contract ever will? You have to respect yourself first. You have to respect your autonomy and your humanity and your strengths, your frailties, whatever. You have to respect that first, because if you don't, no contract ever will, no system ever will, no group of people, no label, nobody ever will. It has to be within first. So I always have had a job. I've always had a trade. I got more licenses than I ain't Jamaican, but I am Jamaican when it comes to having 5 jobs at one time. Like, I refuse to let my children be unstable. I refuse to let my children be in a position where they're not comfortable because of something that I'm after. They didn't ask to be here. Yeah. They didn't. So I can't say, okay, well, we're gonna live in the car and shower at the gym because mama trying to get on. Absolutely not. And if there's some people have made that choice, and that's cool if I was by myself, but I have 2 people that I'm responsible for, and I have to make sure that their life is all right. So I've always had a trader skill, but it did come to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm tired of corporate. I'm tired of being sad and miserable and unhappy, and people asking me, what am I doing here? Because they see me like, girl, you got stripper shoes on and you work in a corporate relocation office. And I'm not, granted, they was like probably some 7-inch pumps, but I was feeling like that day. And I'm an artist, so I'm gonna put it on. They like, why are you here? You don't even belong here.
Right.
And I just got tired after 5 years of being in corporate. I decided to take the leap. And a week after I took that leap, I had got a vocal injury that took me 6 months to get over. In the process of all that, my house went into foreclosure. Every bill I had was behind, because all the opportunities that I quit my job to do because of my vocal injury. I couldn't sing. I couldn't go to the studio. My voice was tired, like after 1 minute of singing. And I didn't want to go the route of taking steroids to be okay, because I had habits, bad vocal hygiene that I needed to correct. So I took a longer route to heal. So in a sense, I was in a situation unexpectedly where I became a starving, I wouldn't even call it a starving artist. I just was struggling financially. So eventually an opportunity presented itself in the voiceover world, in the opportunity I wasn't even looking for, didn't expect. And, I've made more money from my voice, from my speaking voice, than I've had at anybody's job doing anything that required me to go do something that I wasn't really interested in. So I'm going to wrap this response up, because I feel like I'm going off the rails a little bit. So I wouldn't choose the life of a starving artist, because I'm not a single entity. I have 2 children that depend on me. But if it was just me by myself, maybe I would have. But struggle ain't cute, and I don't like it. And if I can avoid it, I will. But I'm just saying, to anybody who's considering that, you don't have to. There's a way where you can balance your lifestyle to where you don't have to live uncomfortably. Because if you are in a situation where you're just surviving, those survival and those emotions that are akin to that, they're not good for the creative process. If you stressed out, if you got anxiety, if you don't feel good about yourself, if you feel off, if you feel unsafe, those things don't help you to create. You might be able to write a dope song from that place, but you don't want to live from that space at all the time. So that's what I have to say about that.
No, that's really no, that's really, and I'm glad you brought up that point, because it makes me think of how, and this is a place that I was before, because I'm a writer. Like, I love to write. I write all my music and stuff, and I definitely write from my experiences. And a lot of times, creatives associate darkness, depression, heaviness with what you need to create. So it's almost like, let me make sure I ain't got no food. Let me make sure I'm starving and struggling so that I can create quality work from that place. And I think that that's a misconception, because, like, we'll say, we've joked about, like, Mary J. Blige, like, oh man, whenever she going through it, that's when the best music comes out. But it's like, is that really healthy to hope for, or to stretch for, or like to try to get yourself in a zone of, that heaviness in order to create? You can absolutely have like a song that has depth and meaning and all of that stuff, and it not because you're sitting somewhere rocking back and forth in the corner, losing your mind. So what do you think about the mindset or the thought that a lot of creators have, that you have to be literally out of your mind in order to make quality work and create and that sort of thing?
If that's what I would say, I think people take for granted, people across the board, artists, non-artists in general, we take for granted how divine we are and how divine our choices are, right? If I accept the belief that this is what I need to create, then that's what it's gonna be. That if I feel like, oh, I gotta be going through some hard in order for me to write a hit, then my brain is gonna make it to where that's what it has to be, because that's what I believe. So if you believe that, then that's what it's gonna be, especially as a creative. So not even especially as a creative, but I'm very big on identifying beliefs that have limiting beliefs. Whenever you can spot them at work within yourself, grab that thing, because your life is what you make. People say life is what you make. We've heard that all of our lives, but it's very true. What you believe makes your life. And if you believe that hardship is required for creativity, then that's what you're not going to be able to create if you're not in a hard place, because that's what you believe about the creative process. Humans are so spectacular. We literally can create under any set of circumstances. I'm just of the mind that I don't want to be sad in order to have to write good songs. I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to. Now, if I'm sad and something great comes out of it, cool. But even now, I'm in a state of grieving, like the greatest loss I've ever experienced. I have nothing to write. I don't have it. It ain't there.
Yeah.
Not to say that it won't come. It's just not there yet. And not to say that it's not possible. It just ain't here for me. So I'm not saying that it's not possible to create under those circumstances. I just don't want to be I don't want to foster that type of belief within myself, because I like to be happy. I like to be at peace. I like ease and joy and bliss. Not to say that that's all of life, but I want to create from that place, because I feel like there's a level of brilliance that comes out when you are in a state of joy and in a state of bliss and in a state where you just really are believing in yourself and really feeling like, even if you don't have it all together or all figured out, when your emotions are in a high vibrational state, all kinds of things come to mind. Like, for example, like the stuff, like how I dressed while I was on the show, all of that was my idea. Those were my visions. Now, granted, I had some really talented, phenomenal designers, but the final product was my idea. And that's but there was a time in my life where I doubted my brilliance pertaining to what my vision for me. And I got to the point where now, if I see it and I like it, I'm gonna go for it. Where some people are like, well, I like it, but my head too big, or I don't got this for that. That's because you worried about what how somebody else is gonna perceive what you chose for you. And I just got to a point in life where I don't care what they think about it. I'm gonna put this thing on. I might, it might not look great to somebody else, but I'm satisfied with it. And so I'm gonna segue into something else by saying that I think when we create something that we're satisfied with, it's a masterpiece upon our putting our stamp on it. But when we present it to the world, the others around us, and they form their opinions of it, that's what we have to be careful as creatives, to not allow us to change our mind about what we created when someone else expresses an opinion about it. So I'm gonna throw the ball back to you, because I feel myself about to start rambling.
No, you're good. This is good. This is good to me, because it's super duper real. And one thing I can say about that is I believe that because there was a time where earlier on in my career, I was known for like writing the breakup songs and the you ain't nothing no good, that was the one to call. Okay, I could do that. I mean, I can still do it now, but I can do it from a different place now. But the difference is, because that's where I kind of lived, that's what, like you said, that's what my life was, that was what was around me. It became to like manifest itself around me, to the point where I found myself in my personal life, like in cycles and in these different places, because I'm a creator. So if I'm creating something, and I'm literally, I compare creating to like birthing, right? So like you have kids, you're birthing a child. Your child is going to go on to do things in the earth and do, all these things in the world and whatever with their careers or whatever. So I'm creating something, I'm birthing it, and I'm giving it to the world. And I birthed it, being pregnant with it, with heaviness, anger, bitterness, all of this stuff. So I'm birthing this thing. It might sound amazing when I when I let it out, but guess what? It's full of all of this mess, and I'm feeding it to you. So while I'm giving you something, you're listening to this song, and it's getting into your heart and your mind, but it came from a broken place. An intentional broken place. You know what I'm saying? So it's one thing to have inspiration in a moment and something is created, but it's another thing to seek that out. Like I need to be mad because I got to get this. And so then it became a point where I'm making all of this content and I'm giving it out, and people are listening to it when they're in darkness, like they're intentionally, I'm mad. Let me go pull this song up, or let me go do this because I'm sad, or whatever the case may be. I've moved on, gone having happy days and stuff, but I've fed you something tainted because I created it from a place of darkness. And now you're feeding off of this and I'm able to go on with my life or whatever. And this could be like actually breaking you down. So I don't think we often take into consideration how much power we have being in that role of a creator, and being able to, you know, make these songs and stuff. Because if you don't know anything else, if you don't know how to say your ABCs, if you don't know, you know, geometry or whatever, everybody knows a song. It's a universal language. Like I can go to another country where they speak another language and I can sing, you know, one of my songs and people can relate to it and resonate with it because of it being a song versus me giving them a paper to read something. So it resonates. It's a universal thing. So I think it's just very, very powerful. And I think that we don't necessarily, or we haven't given enough attention to the fact of it's okay to like kind of be in a good headspace and want to be in a good headspace and want to like, you know, when you're not recording or when you're not in the studio, like wanting to have a quality of life that is good and, you know, full of peace and purpose and all of that kind of stuff, because it's going to flow out of what you create, and whatever you create is going to, you know, it's like a cycle. So I'm giving it out and it's coming back to me. So why would you want to necessarily create something from a dark place intentionally to give that to somebody? Like, why you wouldn't want to, like, well, I mean, some people do, unfortunately, like being pregnant and like being on drugs and all of that kind of stuff, and you're carrying, you know, you're carrying something meaningful. And then but you're not taking care of it. You're not cultivating it, and then you give it to the world, and then it's like whatever after that. So I think that there's absolutely a place, and like you said, we're resilient as creatives, and I think like the mind of singers and songwriters, and of course creators in general, but I'm just speaking to what we do. But I think that we have just been given such a gift and a responsibility that we can do so much with it. So I say all that to say, after I kind of dealt with myself in that place, I told myself, I can tell a story about something hard that I experienced. I can write a song about that, but it means more to me that I can give you this song in its realness, to its core, but also give you something else to like it, to round it out almost. Yeah. Like, I'm not just gonna leave you at this dude ain't nothing and I'm out, you know, like what are you gonna do with that? Like I have this song that was on my first project that everybody loves. I love it too, but it's basically me talking about this guy, and I was running down all the receipts before people had receipts. This is a long time ago, and run down all the receipts. But the moral of the song was, yes, you did all these things to me, but guess what? I realized how much better I was. And I don't need to, you know, I deserve more, basically, kind of like in a nutshell. And so I'm giving you that. I could leave you with like, you ain't nothing and that's it, and I'm mad and I'm sad. But how about I say, you're not anything, whatever, but guess what? I'm also going to move forward and do like all of these amazing things too. So give people something else other than that. That temporary feeling, like that emotion that you're going through in that moment that's going to change, and you're creating a whole world and persona and identity off of that negativity. So yeah, I think that that's something that we as creatives, I wish that we would do a better job of, especially with maybe the current music that's out now. It's just, you know, like especially in the rap genre. I love hip hop, first of all. Like, I may be a singer, but give me some 90s hip hop and I can go. Okay. Like, don't play with me. You know what I'm saying? So the space of like where the hip hop rap music has gone, where it's all about the darkness, the depression, the heaviness, the, you know, all of that. And it's like given in a song to where you see kids walking down the street reciting the names of all of these prescription drugs. And it's like, I don't understand that. So, and while that's somebody's experience, it's their temporary, like they don't have to live in that. They don't have to live in that space. They can actually break out of that and, you know, be free. So that's what I feel as far as that whole thing is concerned. Did you have anything else in that area?
Well, I will say this, when you become like a real student of music, like a real student, and not to, you know, take away from anybody who doesn't want to look so deeply into it. If you look at, like you talked about 90s hip hop, right? Look at Biggie and Tupac. They both wrote songs about dying young and dying early. Yeah. And look what happened. Yeah. What's his name? XXX. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Baby boy.
Yeah.
wrote a song about dying young. So you literally, as an artist, can craft your life based on what you're singing about. So me seeing that and knowing that, it's like, oh, I'm about to sing about all this opulence and elegance and legacy. I'm gonna sing about that all the time. And sing about powerful things, because music literally, it's the only thing that your brain literally don't have a filter for. You can be the most analytical, binary, black and white thinker there is. But if you put a song on, that's going past all that. And it's gonna go directly into your spirit. It's gonna implant itself, and it's going to come out. You are what you eat, and you consume in more than one way, more than just through your mouth. So you can be whatever kind of thinker, you could be whatever type of stoic type of mind, but if you take in a song of any type of subject matter, it's going to have an impact on you some way, shape, or form. So to your point, when I noticed that about both Pac and Biggie, I'm like, nah, I recognize, even when you singing the song, like certain songs I like, but I don't like the subject matter. I'd be like, instead of saying I say she went through
right.
I ain't going through that.
I'm not speaking that out of my mouth. It's very
serious.
And then, like, even with that, what impact do you think that what was I gonna say? Like, as far as like you're talking like Biggie and Tupac, the fact that maybe at that time it wasn't normalized to be able to say, hey, you going through something, or you feeling like darkness, and you know what I'm saying, you're thinking about like your demise and all that kind of stuff. You could maybe talk to somebody, or maybe you need to, you know, so it was not normal at that time to anything about like therapy or counseling or like healing. It was like, your story is your story, and you are your story. You are what happened to you, and that's that. Ain't no coming out of that. You know, always talk about that. You've been from the gutter, and that's what it is. And no matter how much success you have, you are always that person or whatever. So it makes me wonder, like, what could have even been from both of them had they not kind of almost invited all of that into their lives through not having the resources to even say like, hey, I did go through this stuff, but I don't have to be a product of what I went through. And so now I think that it's getting the crack is, you know, opening a little bit wider. I think we still have a long way to go. But what do you think, or do you have any personal like self-care practices that you have to kind of keep your mind in a good place, or like taking care of yourself when you're off the stage and that sort of thing? What do you do?
And it's funny, again, going back to what we were talking about before about life experiences, right? Like, I know how to deliver in pain and under pressure, because that's been my life. Without a stage, without a voice, without a microphone. So in coming into like The Voice and being in the spotlight and under pressure, and now you got all these people that are aware of you now, and they're making comments and they're saying things, it's like, oh, okay, this is what all of that was about, that I was crying about. Like, God, why would you let me go do this? So now when all this is happening, it's like, girl, don't nobody care about that. Do you know where I'm from? Do you know who I am? Because I do. And I don't give a shit about none of what you talking about.
Right.
Excuse me to the saints that's in the lab. So I do. So a lot of times the things that we hate about our lives or our experiences, because they were so painful, it can create some of the most beautiful wisdom if you allow it to. You know, it can create some of the greatest fortitude within yourself if you allow it to. Don't resent it, just embrace it, and think about life as happening for you and not to you. And so for me, the things that I've gone through, it has taught me to be okay within first. Because if I'm solid here, no matter what, if I love me first, even in the midst of me, if I make a mistake, or if I have a weakness that I'm not aware of, and then a situation comes and it's like, boom, that's you, sis. Ugh. Okay, I'm not gonna be mean to myself about it. I'm gonna take that in. I'm gonna apologize where I need to apologize, acknowledge what I need to acknowledge, and I'm gonna move on. But the first thing is to be kind to yourself first, to love yourself first, and to define, what does that mean? Like, okay, the Bible says love your neighbor as yourself. How you gonna love your neighbor if you don't even know what it means to love you? So when you love you, you can handle all this other stuff out here. And when you love you, you invite things into your life that are loving to you to the degree that you love yourself. So being kind to myself, meditating, being tuned in to myself. Like, you need to go sit down somewhere, turn everything off, turn on some cartoons and decompress. Or you need to, when you feeling anxious, okay, if you're anxious, that means it's something that you need to do that you haven't done, or you're avoiding something that you know you need to do. So just becoming self-aware. So practicing self-awareness, meditating, praying, crying, letting myself feel my feelings, but also giving that a shelf life too, because if you stay in one state too long, that could become your nature, and it don't have to be. It don't need to be. Like, if you're sad about something, okay, cool. Feel your feelings, but also check it, because you don't want to go from being Tigger to Eeyore. Like, you overly happy now, you're just sad now because you stay sad too long. So that's what I do for me. And I like to shop, and I like to go to people's grandma's house and find out who know how to make pound cake and beg their grandmas for pound cake.
Come on. And listen, that good pound cake.
I love it. And being and also acknowledging my victories, because I used to be, and I kind of still am, like something big to happen, I'd be like, okay, cool, what's next? Instead of just standing in the moment like, yo. Yeah. Like, I remember I did the Super Bowl commercial for Walmart, and I was like, okay, cool, now what? They're like, yo, hold up. Take a minute. Yeah. Be excited. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate this moment. I'm like, yeah. What's next? Because I got to do, like, no, chill out. Be in the moment. Learn how to, there's so much power in being present. I don't care what you're going through, how hard it is, how difficult and soul crushing it may be. If you tap into the moment, just say, you know what? This ain't forever. And I'm choosing in this moment to believe that my tomorrow is going to be better, to believe that even right now, no matter what I'm feeling, I'm greater than my environment. I'm greater than my body if it's working against me. And time is not, I don't lack when it comes to time. When you choose that, when you make that decision in a moment like that, there's nothing you can't surmount. So I choose to always remember that I'm greater than my body, and any limitation I may experience in my body. I'm greater than my environment. If my environment is less than loving and kind and peaceful, and time is not, I don't lack anything when it comes to time. Time is not running from me. Time is not lost. You know what I mean? Time is working for me and not against me. So when you, it's all about how you frame your mind and how you look at life. I am extremely grateful. I have a great life. I really do. And even in the midst of everything that I've gone through from childhood up until now, my life is phenomenal. I just believe that. And even what I've experienced, I'm extraordinarily blessed. I am from the west side of Chicago. I grew up in what I call 1/3 of trap house, because it was some unsavory things going on in the basement at my grandma's house. Okay, all right. And girls like me don't get to go sing in Amharic in Ethiopia and sing reggae music when ain't nobody on my mama's side Jamaican. Like, what is happening? Like, I am extraordinarily blessed, man. And like you've heard, more people have heard me talk than have heard me sing. I've made more money talking than I've made singing, and I wasn't even looking for a voiceover job, but it was just something God just divinely gave to me, because I took the leap. And I do believe that there is a blessing in taking the leap. I do believe you should secure yourself as much as possible, but when you step out on faith and you do something that pertains to your purpose, there is always going to be some sort of provision or lifeline extended to you. But when I did that, voice acting opened up to me, and it's been extraordinarily good to me and good for me. So I forgot what the question was, sis. So bring it on back.
I mean, no, you got it. You talked about what you do, to keep yourself, self-care, eating a pound cake and whatnot, and all that. But no, I mean, don't mind the segue, because that's really good. Because one of the things that you said is about, and it's still a struggle for me too, is like celebrating the wins and being present in those moments. There was, and that actually inspired, a couple years ago, I did a visual project called Inside Out. And it just kind of was me speaking to where I was up to this point in my career and the things that I've had to like endure and overcome. And then I kind of wrote a song about like just expressing like, this is who I am. It is what it is kind of thing. But for me, it was challenging because I had to go back and like really have to like apologize to God, like, Lord, you have given me some amazing opportunities. Like, I entered into my music career professionally, and within like a month was on tour, touring. I did the working with 𝗬𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁, her hype girl, and touring and meeting all of these, hip hop, because you know what I'm saying? Hip hop is me, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So getting to like have conversations with these people and all that stuff, and just everything that else that happened, touring in different places and getting placements and stuff for my writing, all that kind of stuff. And I took it for granted at one point because I felt like you're not supposed to celebrate a win. Like, you just got to get to the next thing because, you got to keep it moving or whatever. And in that, I realized how much it was like kind of dishonoring and disrespecting the fact that I was blessed, and more people needed to know about how I kind of have been able, or the things that I've been able to do with my story, and how I've been able to like walk that out, versus me just feel like I just need to get to the next, to the next, to the next. But it's like, take a moment, take that in, and be grateful for it, because I had to also realize that out of all the millions and billions of people that sing or create or whatever, not everybody gets the opportunities that we've maybe been blessed to have. Like a lot, like actually majority of them won't. You know what I'm saying? Honestly. And everyone has their own journey and their own thing that they're gonna venture out and do. So whatever you're able to have an experience and go through while you're in your journey, like take a moment and be grateful for it and be present in it, laugh, celebrate, all that stuff. Like even when it comes to like doing shows and events, I had to like check myself to make sure I'm enjoying myself while I'm doing these things and not just getting through the night to have like a flawless whatever. Like take a moment and laugh and like, sit down and do nothing or, whatever. So I think that's a really important part too for our mind to be like kind of regulated in the right place when we are actually able to continue to have joy. Because the other thing that'll happen is you'll burn yourself out trying to do and do and do and do, that you start to resent the very thing that you're saying that you love and want to do forever, because you feel like it's now like laborious, and it's like you just got to stay on it. Because I think part of that comes from society or whatever, painting this picture of this is what it has to look like. You got to just go hard, and not knowing that we see the end result of like our favorite whoever doing these things. We don't see what happens on a day-to-day. Yes, they work hard and all this stuff, but they got labels and money to go do whatever they need to do so that they can go take their vacations and they can sit down. Please believe Beyonce ain't pressed about her schedule. Please know that she's not somewhere like, oh God, it's so much. Like, she can make a call and say, you know what, I'm not doing that today. So like being able to prioritize yourself in a way, knowing who you are, like I have to be in the right space to continue to do what I do. So if that means I got to sit down somewhere, take a vacation, turn off whatever, shut down in whatever kind of way, it's doing that so that, again, you get back to like whatever you're creating being meaningful, and it really fulfilling the purpose it's supposed to, and not coming from like a dry. Because I don't know if you have, I done definitely created some stuff that was like whack because I was just trying to like get some stuff done, stuff I had to go back to like, what was I thinking? Like, I was just like, what is this? Like, I was just doing, just doing it to be doing it, because I felt like I was on this invisible timeline that I set for myself that no one gave to me, that I'm trying to fulfill, to measure up to a standard that no one put me in, So I think that all goes to that point. And so now I'm in this place where, of course, like you said before earlier, I definitely have my moments where I'm like, why can't I have this right now? I need to be here now. I need to be doing this now. But had God given me what I wanted when I wanted it, trash. It would have been trash because I wasn't ready. My mind wasn't ready. It was trash all around. Just bad. Yeah, like trying to rush something at a time. And I'm so grateful now that I have the mindset that I have to be able to go forth and do what I need to do and not be bound by all of this stuff that I had to like unlearn and, that was thrown on me and all of that kind of stuff. So it's a beautiful thing to pace yourself and appreciate those moments in the process, and putting yourself in a place where you can take care of yourself, or do what you need to do to be mindful about what you need so that you can create and do what you need to do and still enjoy life. Because you're not your gift. Like, you have a talent, you have a skill, but that's not all that there is to you. There's so much more in there, and you have to like be more holistic about everything. Because if you burnt out and you can't do it because you not taking care of yourself, then it's going to come out in everything that you do. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So I did want to check in and see if we had any questions. So there's a little Q&A button thing. I don't think it's anything in there.
People been saying stuff, but I was trying.
I know. I've been trying to keep up in like 3 different
these comments. Like, pay attention to.
Right. We need an admin tonight. But you all that are watching, thank you all. I wanted to check in at this point to see if you all had any thoughts, any questions. Did you all want to jump in? You can actually request and we can pull you in for a second if you have a question. If you just want to say what's up or how you're feeling about the conversation, we would love to do that too. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, sorry, y'all got to jump on Instagram in order to do that, but you can come on my page, which is Nialand.music, or Pia's, which is 𝗏𝗏 Renee, and you all can join in. So let me know if y'all got anything, anybody want to chime in. Let me see if there's anybody in here at the moment. I think
my gimbal better get it together and quit.
I mean,
on me.
It's floating. It's floating. So if anybody has anything, y'all can hit the little request button, or you can drop a little Q&A or drop a comment, and all that. And while we are waiting on that thing to come up, you just, I mean, it's all right. You still fly though.
I don't care, but I care about the people who do care. Like, come on down.
I mean, it's all right. It's all right. Okay, here's the question. Let me see. Oh, did you get permission for What the World Needs Now?
I'm smiling, so I'm smiling, and it's a good thing. So I'm gonna announce all that later. So, yay!
Oh, okay. So they're asking like, did you get it to go for? I thought they were saying like when you were on the show doing. I'm like, yeah, she did.
Yeah. So what I'm working on is releasing What the World Needs Now. My rendition of it. So I just wanted to make sure I had the proper channels to do that in a major way. So my attorney was looking into that. But I'm just gonna say, see the smile, and I'll tell y'all all about that later. That's another lie.
Just stay tuned. Just stay tuned. That's all. That's all you got to do. Okay. Cool. Well, yeah, I know since I'll let you got it. Just I can still see you. Okay. No, I'm saying your thing moving. It's all good. But I wanted to ask and kind of get your thoughts on, so now we're in a new, this is hilarious to me. This is funny. That is hilarious.
I just got to wake it up. Because when it goes to sleep.
Oh, it's like a wireless situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He sleep. He got to wake up though. Wake up, sir.
So I say this.
I'm listening.
It's all good. As ours again, for those who are on here who've never seen or heard of me, because you're here for through Pia. My name is Nialand, and I'm a music artist, singer, songwriter here in Chicago as well. And like we've been having this conversation tonight just about like the mind of a creative and how that kind of affects our ability to create and all of that kind of stuff. I personally, at the end of last year, in the wake of the pandemic in 2020, I created a project called Words and Sounds to Quarantine To. It's an EP, it's music, and it's also a short film. And if you go to my page, you can click the link in my bio, you can get the link to it. But I'm saying that to say, I created the project I didn't intend to, like that was not my plan for 2020, obviously, because I didn't know 2020 was going to look like it looked. But in the wake of the pandemic, I kind of found myself a little sad because I'm a touring artist, so I couldn't tour like I normally do. I couldn't put on live events in the city and all that kind of stuff. And that kind of weighed in all of that in the midst of having to be quarantined and not being able to do my normal thing. So it all kind of manifested in songs. So when we talked earlier about creating from, different like places and experiences, that was a moment where I actually that's the only way I was able to get myself to that free place, was to create that project in the midst of all that I was feeling. And it ended up coming out and being something that was a testament to a lot of people, which I was really excited about, and really related to people in that conversation of like how we handled the pandemic, especially those of us that are creatives and couldn't really do our normal thing. So I'm saying that to say, while you all can check that out later, for you, Pia, like, how was your 2020 and how did that shape where you are now? Because I know you went to do The Voice like this whole year. I don't know if you started, I think you may have done like your auditions in 2020, maybe. Did you?
Girl, wait a minute. I'm like, what year is
Right, I know, right? You know, 2020 don't count for real.
But so yeah, the whole process started in 2020. Let me tell you something. My 2020 was amazing in comparison to like what a lot of people went through. When I tell you, I went through 2020 unscathed financially, in terms of opportunity. Yes, music wise, like performing live, there was, you know, a lot of people took a big hit. But I was number one, I was driving trucks before I, you know, part of 2020, I was driving trucks. So that number one, I was an essential worker in that aspect.
Okay.
Then my voiceover career started, and I was able to like retire from, I don't even say retire, but I quit trucking because that income was allowed me to do so. So I didn't lack anything in 2020 at all. So it was, I mean, don't get me wrong, the whole lockdown piece and, you know, life just being very different from what we've ever seen before. It didn't impact me in that way. But I wasn't lacking at all in 2020. I just wasn't. Yeah.
That's good. So is there anything that you took from the year that you're kind of applying in this year?
Yeah. One thing I noticed is like you have to think outside of the normal, and you know, like nobody expected nobody expected that. Nobody expected to have to go to church online. Nobody expected to have to do Thanksgiving over Zoom. Nobody expected any of that. But I think from a creative standpoint, if you go back and you look at it and think about, okay, so what did we have to do differently that we're hoping to get back to? Everybody wants to go and get back on the live stage and perform in front of an actual physical audience. But I think it's good to have in your toolkit the ability to fall back from that if this ever were to happen again. You know, how, okay, so now instead of me banking on touring income, so let me start pitching my music for TV ads and film. Let me focus on voiceover. Let me put myself in another aspect of the music industry that's outside of having to be physically somewhere in front of physical bodies. So I think it just makes you think on your toes and consider the other avenues that are in music other than touring. Like, because some people, for example, if you wrote a song that was on a commercial that aired on the Super Bowl, you could buy you 2 houses, and you could probably outgrow somebody's touring income just from one song being on a commercial on a major primetime slot. So these are things that you need to, that all artists should consider. Because I mean, trying to be the, you know, trying to do it how we've seen it in our generation, like, you know, 80s and 90s baby. Well, I say 80s baby because I'm an 80s baby, but you know, you get the record deal, you be number one, and you do all that as long as you can. And it's like, not even the people that are number one, everything, the sun rises and sets on everything. And you have to always do something. You have to look at it from a business aspect. Like, what is my exit strategy? If something were to come and I couldn't sing on stage, what am I going to do? If I can't perform, if I can't jump and do splits and choreography, what am I going to do? So you have to consider that. Consider all options. And I think sometimes when you can sing and you want to be in the front, because that's the example that's been set, you don't really pay attention to the other lucrative opportunities that exist within the realm of music. So I'll say that from 2020, I learned you have to definitely diversify what you're doing.
Absolutely. I think that that's so good and it's so true, because I know I've been doing my music independently for some years now. I left my corporate job like 7 years ago. But from the pandemic, I saw a lot of my like fellow musical friends literally stuck because all they knew was whatever their realm or their role was in music, and they didn't know how to make that work any way than what it had been working in, like whether it was like gigging and doing like corporate gigs and stuff like that. But like the actual, like I've seen people literally last year walk away from it altogether because they're so devastated that when they didn't have the frequency to do it, you know, like how they normally did it, it just was like, well, I can't do nothing with this, so I'm just gonna go on ahead and do whatever else. And that was kind of, I was sad to see that, because that showed that maybe that you didn't consider what else was in you. And like you said, like being resourceful across the board. So definitely, like I can agree with you, 2020 changed my whole everything. Like I saw fruit, and like was really, really blessed to be able to do some really amazing things. And it was all kind of internal because we couldn't go out, but like getting more in touch with like, how can I reach people when I can't reach people in my normal way, and doing that, and like what kind of opportunities are out there for me to like really expand in what I do and in my writing and all that stuff. So like so many doors opened up because I was able to do the research, and I've had friends like, oh, this and this, you know, these things are happening. I'm like, yeah, like go on Google, like this stuff is out here, resources are out here, you know, for you to be able to like fund your business and things like that. But it was really a time for me to really get perspective on who I think or where I think I'm going and what I want to do, because for so long, the convenience of having a routine or being able to do it this way and that way will kind of make you comfortable to the point where when stuff shifts and you have no control over it, you kind of stuck if you don't apply it the right way and take advantage. And I think for me, the two things that I was always kind of tripping on was I don't have the time and I don't have the finances. I want to do this, I want to do that, but where's the funds? Where's the time? And then when 2020 came, I don't think anybody really, maybe with the exception of like the essential workers, but even in that, like things were just so different that everyone had the ability to take advantage of the time to kind of deal with themselves, whatever that looks like in your personal whatever, and then spend that time thinking about like where you are, what it is that you want to see, where you may have missed the mark and not like, taking advantage of opportunities and all that kind of stuff. So I spent time definitely doing that. And I definitely saw like all kind of things happening, all kind of doors opening because I spent that time. And then, like I said, when we are creatives and we're serious, and I think there's like a switch almost that happens in our mind and our heart that says like, yo, this is what this is, and I want to take this seriously. And then provision will come from that, because if you're not going to take yourself seriously, why would anybody else do that? Like things are not just gonna knock on your door and show up in your mailbox just because it would be nice. Like you have to have a sense of intentionality for these things to come to you. So that's definitely what happened for me. And I'm like living in the fruit of that. And it's been tremendous. And I'm still like trying to like navigate through all of the different ideas and things that I've been able to create and open up and all of that kind of stuff. So I think that even now, as outside is kind of opening back up, I think it's really important that we don't forget what happened last year to the point that we just like take like, oh, glad that's over with. But like, what did you get out of it? Like, what are you taking from that time to be able to do that? So I think that's really important. So I'm grateful for 2020 in its good and its bad. Obviously it had both, but I think perspective is the main thing that was necessary. Like, what did you take from that, and how are you choosing to view that experience or this experience? Because we still in it, like. Honestly, I feel like it's gonna be that way for a little while. Yeah. We still kind of sitting in the residue of some things. So yeah.
And you have to know life will never be the same.
Part.
There may be some quote normalcy restored, but it's never gonna be the same. It's not. I mean, you got people who literally lost half their family because of COVID. They've lost matriarchs because of COVID. So life ain't. It's not going to be ever what it was before. Never. Yeah. So I think just to know that and to arm yourself with that, like, okay, so how do I diversify at all times? You always want to diversify your creativity at all times. And it sounds more difficult because if you, like you said, as an independent artist, you already got a lot on your plate. And if you don't have a team, you ain't got no assistant, you ain't got nobody running your house, you got a lot to do. but to whom much is given, much is required. And it's always about perspective. If you look at it like, oh man, this is so hard, I can't, it's gonna be what it is. And this is I'm gonna tell you something. I draw inspiration from a very unique place. I love drag queens because I used to always complain about, I gotta sing the song, I gotta find what I'm gonna wear, I gotta do my own hair, I gotta do my own makeup. Why I gotta be like that? And then you got this whole dude who transforms into a whole woman looking better than you, and he's gonna get on stage, sing the song better than you. You will split, get back up, collect tips on top of being tough. Ma'am, go sit down somewhere and get your life together. So just recognizing that, it's like, man, there's people out here that's joyfully doing something way more difficult than what you complaining about. You know what I mean? So it's like, diversify at all times. Yes, it's challenging to be an independent artist, but if you think about it, it's challenging working in corporate. It's hard being behind the desk at a job you hate. It's hard clocking in somewhere where it has nothing to do with what you feel like your talents and gifts are. Either way, you're gonna be challenged. So make the decision. This is challenging. What can I do about it to the best of my ability? And do I have people around me who believe in me enough to help me? And most of us do. Most of us do. We just don't know how to tap into it, or we're not aware, or we haven't really just gauged the environment around us because we've been so tunnel vision with just getting after the dream and, however we can. So it's possible. And then, there's a quote that I heard Tony Robbins, a motivational speaker, say, like, when you hold the belief that it can be done, like, the team will come. Like, the team will come, the people will come, the resources will come. And I believe that. Like, for me, I have no problem creating bodies of work. I have no problem with getting music for, tracks. I ain't never had to pay thousands of dollars for tracks. And I have some of the best producers that I went to school with, or people that I met along the way that I prayed and I asked God to give me the right people, and the right folks came with world-class skills. So I literally don't have no problem creating, but it's all connected to what I believe. It's all connected to my experiences. Like, because I went to school to do music and I got introduced to people who make music and tracks, I never had a struggle mentality as it pertains to, man, how I'm gonna get these tracks, I'm gonna pay these producers. And because I never had that mentality, because I was exposed to it early on, it's made things super easy for me now, which has taught me, if you look at something as hard, and if you look at it from a struggle perspective, even if it is a struggle, you can't see it like that because you don't stay there. You have to see it differently. You have to. In order for it to become different, you have to see it differently. You have to make a conscious decision to see this thing differently. And that's almost like you doing self-hypnosis. Like, okay, this is difficult for me, so let me think about something that's not difficult for me, and make these two linear, so I can now see this thing that was a struggle for me equal to what is not. And that's how you change your mentality, and that's how you rewire your brain and create different outcomes in your life.
No, that's really, really good. And I know, for me, I had to stop complaining. There's a difference between having a moment, having a frustration, and literally being mad at the fact that you have to do a thing. And I had to learn to stop doing that, because for me, I started doing my music professionally off the strength of several people kind of sending me off, or me trying to hire somebody to do something and they didn't do it or whatever, and I had to learn the skill. So me starting off just thinking, oh, I just gotta stay in singer mode, I'm a singer, that turned into me becoming an entire businesswoman, because I had to learn graphic design, web design, show production, stage setups, and makeup, wardrobe, booking, all of that kind of stuff. And while there are so many people that they don't even know where to begin with that stuff, I was blessed to be able to have to go through it, so that now it's something that I have as a skill set that until I get the team, until I get this or that, I have the ability to do these things for myself, or train somebody else to do it so that they can do it, and work with me and all that kind of stuff. So I had to stop resenting that. And like I said, you can have a moment long day, whatever, but don't stay there too long, and don't continue to speak to the struggle of it, because once you do that, you're going to start to resent, and it's going to show up in everything that you do. And then now you're complaining all the time about what it is. And people recognize that too. There are people that I know that always are whining and complaining about what they have to do, that coming from a place or things that they said that they wanted to do, or that they, this is my dream, this is my everything. But every 5 minutes you whining that you got to do it. So it's like, well, either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. But you have to change your perspective, because that is affecting your overall ability to do what it is that you need to do.
Right.
And you can't take for granted that the fact that there's more in you. So it's like, some people just like, I just want to sing and that's it. It's like, that's cool, but there may be some other things that are supposed to sustain that or to help push that. But you're so focused on just this one thing looking just like this, to where you can't allow yourself to be open and know the other doors are going to open. Like, even, and I'm sure this has happened to you, like even being able to work with people and like what happened even with your voiceover stuff, like it's not directly music, but because you did it, it's going to open a conversation or a door or an opportunity to do something with your music, because you are open for it not to just be this one singular way all the time, only this way. And when we push ourselves into that corner to try to make ourselves look like what's most convenient or whatever to us, we're missing out on the bigness, everything else that could come with it, every other door. And so I think one thing that I had to deal with was the fact that I was so resourceful, because I am, like, I can't hide it. Like, I have friends that literally call me Google, because they'll call like, how do you do? And I'm like, oh, you just got to do this. Like, yeah, of course you knew how to do that. Like, I mean, it's just how I am. I just, figure stuff out. But it's a gift that I can, now take with me and like be able to say, like, I'm glad I can do these things or whatever, and take them and use them, and just be resourceful and grateful that I can. So I think we all have things in us, and it's not I think sometimes maybe creatives or artists wear it as a badge of honor that I'm just this, or this is the main thing, or this is da-da-da. But there's so much inside of you, other thing. And there, like, even like we talked earlier, like you can absolutely be a whole artist, and maybe you work a corporate job somewhere, and you may run the company. You may be, doing major things in that company, and then, doing your music thing too. Like, there's no shame in that. Like, it's actually okay to be able to be multifaceted, to be diverse, to be able to walk into a room and have conversation with different types of personalities and people, because, oh yeah, I know about that, and I know about that. Like, I could do this and I could do that. So not suppressing your abilities because you think that you're only going to get it this one way, and you pushing that so hard that you're missing the opportunity that's in the other. So.
Yeah, and it makes you a better business person, because music is business. If you're trying to do it on any level other than you singing in your living room, if you're trying to be profitable about it, and you want to remain where you're not taken advantage of, it's business, and you have to fall in love with that aspect of it, because it's critical. So it's like, even if you are going to hire a team, if you have no reference point for the things that you need done around you, you don't know how to hire people, and you don't know how to watch to make sure that they're doing what you hired them for effectively, because you haven't never touched it. And now, granted, you can be completely inexperienced in a bunch of things, hire a team, and it can be great, but that ain't your experience and it ain't mine. So I'm grateful for my experience in having to do a lot of things for myself, because now I know what to ask for, and I have instincts on when something is not quite what it should be, even if I'm not super experienced with it. Like, I am not a social media guru at all. And quite frankly, I hate the fact you got to post this and this many times, you got to have this much content. But there's people out here that are excellent at it. But because I had to do it on my own, I know what I want my content to feel like. I know what I want it to speak in terms of it being representative of me. So you definitely want to not limit yourself in any way, shape, or form. We are all capable of doing more than one thing. We all are. And unless you're like creating on a high level where it's creating, like, it's like feeding you and employing many others, be open to doing other things. Just be open. Because like I said, I wasn't looking to be a voiceover artist, a voice actor. I knew that they made great money. I knew it was, you're using your voice in a different capacity, but I wasn't looking for it. But it came to me, and it's been extraordinary. So just, be open and don't limit yourself, and don't tie yourself up to, oh, this is the dream and this is what it got to be. And it's just, no, it's so much out here, and there's so many other aspects. Because sometimes you may discover like you don't want to be in the front as much as like when I was young, I wanted to be the lead singer. I wanted to be, the front person. And as you get older, or as you learn more about yourself or the business, you may not want that no more, and that's okay. Because for me, I had to discover certain things I just didn't want anymore. Like, do I want to be this? Do I want to play like Prince and play every song? No, I don't. But I do want my skill set to be at a point where if I choose to, I can. But do I want to put all this pressure on myself to do this like Definitely. How I saw? No, I don't. And that's okay. And I can still be rich without doing all that. I can still be successful. I just recently posted on my stories like this little snippet of a Jay-Z interview. He said the goal is to not be rich or successful. The goal is to have a talent, a God-given ability, and to be able to live from that place. And I think that's such a healthy mentality to have. Of course, everybody wants to be rich and successful. Not everybody, but who don't want to be comfortable? Right. And sometimes success and wealth equates to comfort, right? But for him to say that, I think that puts you in a healthy place mentally, where you're not doing things looking for a dollar. You're not doing things looking for an accolade. You're doing this because this is my life's work. This is what I'm naturally gifted at. I was born with this. I didn't have enough capacity to even ask for this. I want to live from this place. And I think when you do that from that mentality, success, wealth come as a byproduct. But if you look to chase success and money, sometimes it's elusive because it's just not the right mentality to have. It's not the right end goal to attach yourself to, rather.
Yeah, I always subscribe to the notion that while we need money, like money is not, it's something that we need. It's a resource and all of that stuff. We don't put our purpose forward because of money. Like, I need to be something because I need money. Like, no, you be it, and then it will find you. Because when we walk in purpose and do things that are purposeful, we become solutionists, and we're answering questions to problems that are in the earth. So if you do that and your focus is money, you're not going to tap into what the need is. Like people that are billionaires, like Amazon, all that stuff came from an idea to meet a need to solve a problem, not from I need something to make me some money real quick. What can I do? You can't create from that place. You only create, the purpose comes first. And then from there, because it solves a problem, you're able to, eat from that place. But to go and reach for something because I need, money, it's not going to take you very far. It may work for a little bit, but it's not going to be sustainable because you're not solving anything. You're just selfishly, reaching for something to create something just for that financial whatever that may be. And I see we got a question here. Someone wants to know where they can hear your voiceovers. Are they on YouTube?
They are.
So right?
Go to my YouTube channel. I don't know what my YouTube handle is. Because I recently changed. I think it's Pia Renee. I think it's Pia Renee.
Okay, let me see if I find it.
But most of the voiceover work I've done is on there. So because I uploaded a bunch of the commercials on there, and too on my Instagram and my highlights, some of them are on there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to say something too. Like we talked about, like sometimes how when you feel like you're limited, like you don't have money, you don't have a team, right? I was watching. One of the things I like to do to decompress is like watch like nature documentaries, and like if you look at bees, right? The way bees are anatomically set up, they should not be able to fly. The way their bodies are made, they should not be able to fly. If you look at ants, like just nature, period, right? I was watching this one on like all the cats in nature, and I was watching this cat, like this one little small cat can like jump 12 feet, right? So I'm watching it jump, and it's jumping over like this little from one cliff to another with this like gap in between. But as he's jumping, he ain't looking down like, damn, that's a big ass gap. Am I gonna clear it? Oh my God. He's just looking straight ahead like, boom, I'm out here. And so I learn a lot from nature too. Like when we're doing things that we don't feel like we have enough resources, do absolutely as much as you can possibly do. Because when you tap into that, when you exercise everything that's within your power, I promise you, resources will find you. But you have to exercise all of self first. If you just, oh man, am I gonna be able to do it? If you're doing all that, but it's okay to think about all that while you're doing it. But if you're thinking about all that and it's taking up so much energy that you're not doing it, you're not gonna do nothing, and you're not gonna produce nothing. You're not going to activate the divinity that's available, the divine help and resources that's available to everybody. It ain't unique to no specific person. But when you give your all to your, whatever you are about, your purpose, your gifts, your talents, whatever, when you give your all, even with perceived limitations, you're going to activate some sort of divine resources and help. You just are. So my thing, I just want to say, based on the bees and the cats I watched on Nature Channel, focus.
That's good.
If it's pollen, they gonna go get that pollen. They can't fly. They can't fly, y'all. Bees can't fly, but they fly because they gotta go. But atomic cannot fly. But because pollen is so important, they can fly. Like what? Like it's all kinds of examples in nature where it's an impossibility that's being conquered by some animal. Like you look at mountain goats, they literally stand on the side of how? Because it don't think, oh, I can't do that. I'm finna fall. It don't think that. It just stand on the side of the mountain where we human beings would like die because we can't believe we standing on the side of this slope. So I learned a lot from nature too, you know. But I'm just saying all that to say, whatever you can do, whatever's within your power to do it to the fullest capacity, and you will be met with help. Help is gonna come. It's gonna find you. But you can't spend all your energy thinking about what you ain't got and thinking about who ain't here, who ain't help, who don't believe in me. It don't matter. To this day, I don't care who don't come to the show. I don't give a shit who don't tune in. I don't give a fuck. I don't care who don't share, who don't like, I don't care. It ain't about them. This is my gift. This is my talent. This is what I believe about me. This is what I know I can do. And this is how I know I can grow. Don't matter who don't show up, and you ain't got to give me a dime, a dollar. You don't got to do nothing, because I'm going to show up for me 100%. And I'm going to show up to my fullest capacity, and I'm going to be helped. Period. Yeah. Because I'm built for this.
Yes.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Listen, that's good. That is so real. I subscribe to the notion that no matter what, I am for who I'm for, meaning that I might not be for you, and that's okay. But the person or the people or the space that I'm for is going to serve me, because that's who I'm for. And I don't have to give all of my energy to what's not serving me and that what's not speaking life into me or reciprocating what I'm giving out, because it's not, y'all not for me, and that's okay. But if you put yourself there and you stay there on they not doing this, they not doing that, I don't have this, I don't have that. But what do you have? What is there? Focus on that. Yeah.
Anybody who's accomplished something great, they gonna tell you they bet on themselves. Number one, I got me. You ain't gotta have me. I got me.
Yeah.
I got me. I'm the baddest one on my team. Me.
Listen. Yep.
Because at the end of the day, I gotta deliver. My social media manager, they can't sing a song. My designer can't sing a song.
Exactly.
My hairstylist can't sing a song. I have to show up and sing the song. You know what I'm saying? So the bottom line and the end result is I'm the alpha and the omega on this team. Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I ain't taking that away from the divine power of God Almighty, but I'm saying as it pertains to my brand, I'm the alpha and the omega, and I'm
absolutely,
and I'm gonna show up.
And that's yeah, and He gives us what we need to be resourceful in the earth without the acceptance sometimes, of man or whatever. So you have to show up, because that's what we're here to do. And we have to own where we are and know that our individual purpose and what we're here to do, it starts with us or it stops with us. What we decide to press through and walk through, that's ultimately our decision. And we eat from it or we starve from what we decide. As you know, with what we're given to, you know, to have dominion in it and all of that kind of stuff. So that's absolutely true. Like and that's what it relates to, like even with like the social media standards and all of that kind of stuff. Like you should always be measuring yourself against yourself. Like there's no external goal.
And that's how you stay healthy. That's how you stay mentally. Because if I can't beat Nialand at being Nialand, I'm not gonna try. I would be trash trying to be sound like you, trying to compete with you. I would be miserable trying to compete with you. All I can do is be who I am. And in the process of, am I gonna get compared to people? Absolutely, because people do that based on their frame of reference. Like, oh, you sound like, or you look like, or that's no remind me. And that is what it is. But as far as it lies with me, this is I'm competing with myself. And even in that, in a healthy capacity, okay, once I put out something, how could I have done that better? How could I grow from this? Where can I improve? So you're absolutely right. Everything it does, there is no such thing as competing with somebody else, because we all are significant. And your work, your voice, your essence is gonna find its home, but you have to, you know, it has to have a comfortable home with you first.
Yeah. And everything is going to flow from that, what you actually believe. So you can have all of the resources, you can have all of the things, but if you still struggle to think that you're even worthy of where you are or able to carry out what's in you, then it's not going to go anywhere anyway. So ultimately, it's not a matter of what's the tip to get the this or to the that, or where can I find this, or it's not. It starts with, what do you believe you're able to possess? What do you think that you possess? What can you carry out, and how are you, you know, walking that out in everyday life, no matter what it looks like around you? What do you know about you and about what's in you that's going to help you to be successful and to move forward and all of that stuff? So all of that, like, is stuff that we have to be mindful of and watch ourselves, because I think we cancel ourselves out and we count ourselves out a lot, just without anybody having to say anything, because of our own doubts or insecurities or fears about whatever the case may be, and not being able to really be grounded. And not that you have to be arrogant or pious or anything like that, but just to be like present and know who you are, know your strengths and know your weaknesses, and not be bound by your weakness. Because sometimes there are things that we don't do well that we're so discouraged by, but it's not about that. Like, everybody has to have both. Like, you have things that you're good at and things that you're not so good at, but you can't look at what you're not good at and cancel yourself out as being valuable because you're still in process. Like, you know, you still have to continue on and to keep going and all of that stuff. So,
but then what makes us dissatisfied with, what's at the root of being dissatisfied with your weakness? That's comparison. You comparing yourself to somebody who does that good. Cut it out. Just cut it out. Like, people who can't sing blow my mind in a good way, because it's like, okay, so you mean to tell me you can't sing a song? That means you have a practical skill that will knock my socks off. You know what I'm saying? Not to, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not artistically inclined, that means you have some sort of different type of superpower. I want to know what it is, because I know I can't touch it. I can't. And I want to know what that is. You know what I mean? So I'm just
no, that's right. I think that a lot of times we look at the creative arts as like this superior, supreme other. You're so much better because, like, I have friends who are like, oh, I don't have any gifts, I'm not creative. Everybody's creative. Like, you may create in the office, you may create in hospital, you may create in a different space, but we all have it. We're all gifted with something, and we're all, you know, we all thrive in an area. So it's not about, oh, y'all the chosen ones because you do music. It's like, nah, fam, there's so many things that I don't do well, like a lot, and that's okay because I know what I do well, and that's what it is. So we have a comment here. It's also important and okay to congratulate yourself and celebrate you. How you feel about you is what you project about yourself. Be there for you before anybody else is. That's good. Yeah. 100. Yes. So so all in all, whether you all are creatives out there or not, I think that the moral of the story is you have to be able to step away from that thing that you do, whether, you know, it's your career or your gift, your talent, or whatever phase you are in it. It's important to be able to step back and have the right perspective within yourself, because all of the things that we've said and shared tonight, I think it all kind of goes back to like, where do you start within yourself? Like, where are you at with you that makes these things happen or not happen, and, you know, and all that kind of thing. So I think that is necessary. And again, still kind of like talking about it being like Mental Health Awareness Month. There are things that you may not know how to do, because I think that sometimes life experiences gives you a different kind of like ability to cope and to deal with certain things, but sometimes you may not have it in you, and it's okay to step outside of yourself and get what you need, because someone may be able to help you get into a better place within yourself, you know, maybe better than you can in the moment. So I'm even grateful for, along my journey, those that have stopped and took a moment to like help to cultivate me and, you know, speak life into me and all that kind of stuff. And so whether you had that from like a family unit or friendship, or even if you didn't have that, like you can still, you know, if you need to talk to somebody, whether it be through like counseling, therapy, whatever the case may be, get what you need for you, because you cannot holistically, successfully create anything long-term in legacy without making sure that you are well, like without putting yourself in there, because you're the one that's you're creating the thing, you're presenting the thing. And if you're all jacked up, we're not going to get the fullness of you, period. We might get some good songs, we might get some hits or whatever, but we're not getting the fullness of what your capacity is. Much bigger when you're in the right place, in the right space within yourself when you're doing those things. So I think that that's really, really important to know, and all of that stuff. So I could go on and on and on, because I love conversations. Like I love purpose conversations and things like that, because I don't think that it's normalized in everyday society. Everything is like, it's about, do you get what you want to get this, get that, so you can show that. But it's like, at the end, we got to like really be doing something meaningful, because that's what's going to carry out. That's what our legacy is going to be surrounded by.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So now we know that you are post The Voice. What's going on next for Miss Pia Renee?
All right, so you know, Miss Pia Renee has a whole body of work, to release to the public. But
okay.
I want to release my rendition of What the World Needs Now with a visual, and I wanted to make sure that I took the proper steps to secure the right permissions to do that. I know you don't need permission to do a cover, but the way I want to do it, I wanted to make sure I didn't come across any issues. And I wanted to make sure that Mr. 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝘁 gave me his seal of approval, so I can go ahead out here and release the newest version of that song. And you know, I got a lot of good feedback from around the world about it, so I really want to put that out there. So music, new music on the horizon. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And you're on all of the Spotify's and all that stuff with your other music that's already out. That's amazing.
Yeah. Even my last body of work that I released in 2017, it's on everything, and it's on TikTok. So I was telling folks on one of the lives I did to do some TikTok videos with my songs. Just search me in the little bar. You can find me. I'm in there.
In the little bar. Search in the little bar.
In the little box where it says,
in the little thing. Where it say, yeah.
I'm in there.
Yes. That's what's up. Yes. So I'm excited about everything that you are doing and that you are going to do, because you've always been amazing, and you're just going to be amazing-er, if I can create that word. Yeah, so this was like a really good. If we have any other questions from anybody, y'all feel free to drop them in. And then anybody that wants to stay connected with Pia Renee, you can jump into her page at I Am Pia Renee, follow her, hit the links and all of that good stuff. Find her on all of the social medias and the YouTubes and all of that stuff, and just support the music. You know, add her to your library and all of that good stuff, and stay tuned to what she has going on, because I know it's amazing. So I didn't mean to give your spiel on how people can stay connected with you. Like,
I know that's all good. I was gonna give yours too, because you a whole artist out here.
Yes. And myself, for those that are new to me, again, my name is Nialand. I'm Nialand Music on everything. Like I was saying earlier, I have a new project that's out called Words and Sounds to Quarantine 2. It's a soundtrack and it's a film.
So please good, go in. Y'all. Yeah. Can I tell you, it's so good.
Oh,
it's so good. You. I'm swallowing cuss words because I don't want to cuss. It's so fucking good, y'all. It's so good. It's excellent. So it's well written. The visual is just the acting, the drama. It's so good, y'all. Please get this project. It's so fucking good. And I'm done.
Yeah.
Back to you.
Yeah. I need that on. Yeah. I need that whole review on somewhere, Google reviews or something. But yeah. So my project, Words and Sounds Quarantine 2, you can look it up on YouTube and watch the whole short film. It's like 16 minutes long, but it's a film. I'm really excited about it, and I think it speaks to the times, and been getting a lot of great feedback from it. And you can find the music on all of your music platforms and just look up Nialand, that's Nialand, and it's Words and Sounds to Quarantine 2. And you can also follow me here on Instagram. This is my newer page, so if you see me somewhere else that ain't me, just look in the bio. I had some IG drama, but we back and we rebuilding. So I am at Nialand Music, and this is Miss Pia Renee, and you can look her up as well. And thank you so much, sis, for this conversation. You know, we always have these good talks. We're gonna have to do, I want to do like a straight up artist information, like independent artist talk, because we don't see a lot of that either. Because I think everybody's like focused on what the mainstream artists are doing, that forget that there's a whole industry in independent music. And I love having those conversations about how that all works out, because like this is what I do every day. So we definitely got to have another one and talk about some of those things, and even like the performances, because I ain't even get into like how you be floating on these stages like butter, you know. So I need answers at this point.
Anyway, yeah, that's another live, girl. Don't even
listen. I know.
That's all right here.
Yes, all of that. All of it. And that too. Yes. Yes. So thank you all to everybody who has tuned in. I'm gonna save this so that we can watch the replay. You can watch it on my YouTube and YouTube and Facebook page also. And again, stay connected. And also, I'll be doing one more chat tomorrow night. This is like kind of all encompassing for the whole supporting the whole mental health awareness month. So tomorrow night at 7 p.m. I'll be having a conversation with 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁. She is an amazing licensed professional counselor, and she's going to be giving some tips and actually busting out some of the myths that are associated with mental health, with therapy and all that stuff. So you get to ask questions and get resources that you need. And I'm really excited about that one too. So y'all can tune in tomorrow right here again on Instagram at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time and check that one out too. But other than that, thank y'all so much. And thank you, sister. I love you. I'm so excited for everything that you are doing.
I love you too.
And we'll talk soon and all that. And to everybody else,
my hand heart. I learned that from Korean dad. This a heart. This is what Korean people do this. It's a heart. It's a hand heart. I love you.
Okay. I just be doing this, but that works too.
Boom.
Okay. I'm gonna do that on the slide to people. They're like, what's wrong?
Not with that face, girl, because it's almost like this.
Like, I
mean.
That's good to me. Oh, wait, let me make sure. I think somebody. Okay, let's make sure we clear on the questions. Okay, thank you all so much again for everything. Good night and enjoy the rest of your week and all that stuff. Peace out.
Right. And thank you for everybody who stayed in for the 2 hours that we was.
Yes, I mean, y'all, we didn't have time.
Out on the low, but
y'all hung out. Okay, listen. Yes. All right. Peace out, y'all.
All right. Bye. Love you, Nia. Bye, baby.
Love you too. Bye.